follow the rules our team does, and and we're going to give them a couple more minutes to be sure it's kind of organized. For example, one of the wrinkles is our votes depend on simple majority or percentages and what have you. And depending on how many of our members are actually participating today, those numbers change. Not by a lot, but you need one more person or one less person. So for example, we have a council member, Amanda Matchett, who I've not yet had the privilege to meet. She just sent us a note at 9 o'clock saying, I've been out of the country, but I've reviewed all the interviews. Please send me a Zoom link so I can participate today. So that just changes who's here and how many names we vote. We hadn't yet heard from Senator Mohammed and weren't entirely sure, and she's on her way. So that would be great. And as a new member of the group, if another minute or two, I want her to be able to catch up with our order of business a little bit.
Madam Chair, if I may, point of personal privilege. I'd really like to recognize Sally, the work that you do, and all of the other staff that has joined along. There's a lot of work that goes into this, starting with emails that go to us, the applications, the mechanics of this entire process. I'd really like to stand for an applause and a standing ovation for our staff. So
I want to wait a couple hours. Wait a couple hours. Now's the time to ask them. Okay.
And Madam Chair,
Yeah.
I just want to call out Diane and Megan. I know, our committee member Reynosa did, but I just wanted to make sure that their
Yeah.
names got called out.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. I agree. Okay.
Which did I say it right?
So I'll start a little bit of our conversation, and our members who need to catch up, will help them if they need that. So we've listened to 22 wonderful candidates interviewing to be a University of Minnesota Board of Regent. It's taken a lot of determined attention from our council, and I think you're all professionals and terrific, and it's a pleasure to be a part of the group. Today, it is our job, a requirement, to recommend between 2 and 4 candidates to the legislature for each open seat. We are required to recommend at least 2. We can recommend up to 4, which means it could be 2, 3, or 4. So, and the voting will point us to the direction of how we feel collectively in our best judgment, who those best candidates are to advance. In my mind, I don't think of a number and work backwards trying to fill it. I think of who the best candidates are that we want to advance. Okay. In your packet, there is a reminder of the selection criteria for a Board of Regent member. If you wanted to review that and think about what we consider to be the right qualities for a Board of Regent, perhaps reflect on Regent Chairman Janie Maron's advice to us when she came and talked to us. We will start today with the student at large position, and then we will go to District 5 and then to at large. That will be kind of our order of process. Sally reminds me that all votes are in fact public. We will use SurveyMonkey, so hopefully you all have some technology with you. We did a test email. Diane did a test email for us last night to be sure that she had your email correct and that you could receive an email. Senator Rarick, did you not get a test? Ah, okay. Well, good reminder to be able to find those and respond. Oh, wonderful. 2 more members. Thank you. Senator Mohammed, I think we have a seat for you right there on the end. Terrific. So, everybody has technology. Everybody can do a SurveyMonkey. Yep, wonderful. Okay. We would like to go through just a reminder of the voting procedures. And with that, I think I'll ask Sally to do that.
Did you want me to do a roll call?
Oh, excuse me. I started too quickly because we didn't have members here. Now that everybody's here, let's do a roll call, please.
Chair Clausen,
Present.
Councilmember Ali,
Present.
Member Endelcheck, Member Bernardi,
Present.
Daniels, Member Devine,
Present.
DWAD excused, Member Farrell,
Present.
Member Hilbrich,
Here.
Member Hill, Member Jessen,
Here.
Member Matchett,
Here.
Member Mergendahl,
Present.
Senator Mohammed,
Present.
Member Ojala. Here. Member Otto,
Present.
Member Moore,
Here.
Member Pandy, Senator Rarick, Member Reynoso,
Here.
Member Shostrom,
Here.
Member Theophalt. Here. Member Tyak, Member Winkler. There are 22 members present. A quorum is.
So, thank you. And that quorum is present. Whoa, okay. So, general rules of voting procedure. Sally,
So
floor is yours.
members, in your packet are the adopted Regent Canada Advisory Council selection procedures that you can see were originally developed in 1994. We'll be looking at section number 2, procedures for selection of individuals recommended to the legislature. The general rules, a candidate needs a majority of the total council membership to be recommended regardless of the members present today. So the total membership is 24 and would need 13. Once at least 2 candidates per open seat are selected, the council may close the selection process with the support of a majority of the full membership, which is again 13. And only candidates that have been interviewed and duly selected can be recommended to the legislature. So the first ballot for the student and the 5th district, each member votes for up to 4 candidates. If a candidate receives 16 or more votes, which is 2/3 of the council's total membership, the individual with the highest vote total is selected. And if there is a tie, the 2 with the highest vote total are selected, regardless if someone has 16. So if 2 have 17, those 2 are selected and then go to a subsequent ballot. Candidates with no votes and the fewest number of votes are eliminated. And then for subsequent ballots, members vote for the remaining candidates, reducing the number of votes based on the slots left. So if there's 3 slots available, you vote for 3. And the threshold for selection decreases by 1 each time. So from 16 to 15 to 14, 13. And then in that one, only 1 candidate is selected per subsequent ballot. And then the process is the same for the elimination of the lowest 0 and fewest votes from future ballots. For if there's 2 seats open, like the 2 at-large seats, you'll vote for up to 8 candidates. The highest and the second highest, if they reach 16, are automatically selected. If there's a tie among 3 or more candidates at the highest vote total, no selection is made. And candidates with the 2 lowest vote totals are eliminated. Also the ones with no votes for subsequent ballots. And then the process would decrease as before. So 7, 6, 5, and then 15, 14, 13. And then just a reminder, these rules can be suspended with 2/3 vote with stating the specific purpose in the motion to suspend the rules. And also, I just want to clarify, because my math isn't always the greatest. So as 2/3 of 22 members present is 15, right?
I think so. Okay.
Madam Chair, Sally, I just want to clarify, is it of the 2/3 of the members present or 2/3 of the total complement of the committee?
For the suspension of the rules is permitted for the specific purpose stated in a motion to suspend and must receive the support of 2/3 of the members present in order to prevail.
The number is 15.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Madam Chair.
Yeah.
Just for a point of clarification, that includes the people online?
Correct. That includes the people online.
questions mean you're paying attention and you understand it. So I think that's great. So I guess our first order of business will be to make our selections for the recommendations for the student at large. So there in your packet again is a page that reminds you of the names of the 5 students who have applied and that we've interviewed. And I would just ask if anybody wants to comment on any of those applicants. If there's anything else you want to say before we vote, this would be your chance. No. Yes? What? No. Oh, Matt.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you for your work this week. I think the consensus of this group stands that the students demonstrated just deep passion and commitment to the U in so many areas. And, let the will of the body speak on this ballot would be well in order.
Thank you. And another reminder, we vote with SurveyMonkey and you put your name on it. And if somebody was to be curious about how you voted, it is public information. Somebody can track it down, just to let you know. So, all right, with that, Diane, are you ready? First ballot, yep, for student at large. Okay, the ballot has been sent. Are you guys receiving it? Yes. Oh, wonderful. Please let us know if you do not. You haven't gotten it yet.
Did you get the test?
I did. Okay. Have you, Cal?
Just a quick point of clarification, Madam Chair. In the event that a student does not, if somebody doesn't make it on this first ballot, would we then still be able to consider them for the at-large or if eligible, the District 5 seat as well?
Yes.
Okay, noted. Thank you.
Okay. Diane, I hate to be the one, but I haven't gotten it yet. I haven't gotten it. No. Sorry. I got 2 things here. Both are, oh, wait.
If anyone on Zoom hasn't received the ballot, can you please let us know?
I got mine.
I got it. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I will see what she reports, I guess. That's just nice. Okay. We have our totals. Tai Wu received 5 votes. Kosar Mohammed received 15. Madeline Rowe received 16. Flora Yang, 17. Dylan Young, 18. So based on those votes, tell me again.
The top 2 would be selected on this ballot, Dylan Young and Flora Yang. The lowest vote getter would be removed, and I believe.
Yeah.
And then you could re-vote on the 15 and 16.
Okay? Yeah. All right, that sound good?
Yeah.
What?
Madam Chair, if I may, if it's appropriate for a time to make a motion to suspend the order of business or the rules, should I say? And move forward Mohammed, Rowe, Yang, and Young.
A motion has been made to suspend the rules and move forward for candidates. We need a
I will second the motion.
second, thank you, and a vote of 2/3 of people present to carry that motion. So do you want to say what? You're going to do a roll call. Sally will do a roll call to be sure.
Chair Clausen,
Yes.
Member Ali,
Yes.
Member Andolchek, Member Bernardi,
Yes.
Member Devine,
Yes.
Member Farrell,
Yes.
Member Hillbridge,
Yes.
Member Hill, Member Jessen,
Yes.
Member Matchett,
Yes.
Member Mergendal,
Yes.
Senator Mohammed,
Yes.
Member Ojala,
Yes.
Member Otto,
Yes.
Member Moore,
Yes.
Member Pandy,
Yes.
Member Senator Rarick,
Yes.
Member Reynoso,
Yes.
Member Showstrom,
Yes.
Member Theophald,
Yes.
Member Tyak,
Yes.
Member Winkler.
Yes.
So 22 in favor.
Yes. So the motion to suspend the rules carries, and those 4 candidates will be advanced.
We need to vote.
We have to vote again? Oh,
Suspended the rules now to advance the board candidates.
my apologies. So now we have to vote to advance all 4 candidates. So do we do that?
So for that, or
We do a voice vote for that? I think we can do a voice, will you call again?
it doesn't matter.
Oh, okay, I think we'll do a voice vote for that, and all, Yes, some,
Madam Chair, I'd make the motion to cast unanimous ballot for all four candidates to
Thank-
be moved forward. Thank you.
thank you. Second, thank you. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Thank you. Now it carries. All right. Terrific. Put that right. Mhm. Okay. Yep. Next order of business is to vote for the candidates for District 5, who we would like to recommend to the legislature. We have 5 candidates. And again, you can vote for, we have to recommend between 2 and 4. And she will send us our first ballot. I will open the floor, though, if anybody wanted to say anything additional about any of the candidates at this point. No? Wonderful. All right. Your ballots will be coming. Just a second. Okay. Okay, the ballot should be received soon. It's sent.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
question for you. Candidate co-star has already been voted through, so should not be on this ballot, correct?
Correct.
That's correct.
That's correct. Oh, I see. I didn't see the ballot. Oh, because I haven't seen the ballot yet, but it must. Sure. Just.
So 2 things, we can either adjust and resend the ballot without candidate Mohammed, or just people know that she already passed through and don't need to vote twice.
Find the way it is.
Still haven't gotten my right answer. I don't need to be late. I know. Verizon. I am on Wi-Fi. I don't like doing it. Okay.
Did everyone on the Zoom receive the ballot?
Yes.
But I will vote now.
Do you want to try signing in on mine?
Uh,
Email?
Maybe,
Because-
no, because you need yours.
No, you're gonna be on like, I'm not on Gmail or anything right now.
Oh, okay,
You want
just, here, let me just do, as long as I can do this right now.
Because you can, I'm on LCC Wi-Fi. Maybe that's.
Oh, I may be, I mean, I'm just on, that. Wi-Fi. And it says I'm on Wi-Fi. No. So I don't, but I did, it took a minute, but I got the. Let's see here, is there a possibility that there's just no? Okay, I'm just gonna vote. Yeah, that's what she said, well, this takes a little more time, so what the heck? Okay, we can vote for up to four.
But I got the one, I like that one down by the door, that when it's open on the east wall.
Yeah.
It's closer to the door. That was open today, so I didn't mind. How about it? I didn't want to dent your car or anything, you know, so I went around. I always go through that door on the side because it's got an indoor
Just to see if-
ticket machine, so.
Yeah, you-
It'll freeze your hands.
Check what?
The first time I came, I parked in that spot
Oh.
there, and then I walked over and did the one, right at the entryway. there.
Amen.
Because there was a woman that fumbled
Connecting.
with
One
it
of one.
before me, and then I fumbled with
Campus
it, so
students. No.
you have to wait, yeah, because if you push
Guys, mics are on.
a letter, mics are on.
Reminder, mics are on. Oh, terrific. Oh, interesting. Okay. So We have the results of our first vote for District 5. Ellen Luger, 17. Benjamin Kaplan, 14. Robert Albright, 11. Jenna Mitchler, 9. Devin Driscoll, 8. So.
Madam Chair, I would like to make a motion to suspend the rules for the purposes of advancing the top 3 candidates.
There's been a motion made to suspend the rules and advance the top 3. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay. Thank you for the second, Ryan Winkler. Then we need to vote. Do we need a voice vote or can we? Roll call vote. Roll call vote.
Chair Clausen,
Yes.
Member Ali,
Nay.
no. Member Andalchek, Member Bernardi,
Nay.
Member Devine,
Yes.
Member Farrell,
Yes.
Member Hilbrich,
No.
Member Hill,
Yes.
Member Jessen,
Yes.
Member Matchett,
No.
Member Mergendahl,
No.
Senator Mohammed,
No.
Member Ojala. Yes. Member Otto,
Yes.
Member Moore,
Yes.
Member Pandy,
Yes.
Senator Rarick,
Yes.
Member Reynoso,
No.
Member Shostrom,
Yes.
Member Theophalt,
Yes.
Member Tyak, Member Winkler.
Yes.
So they're 15 yes. And 7 no.
And 2/3 is what we need.
15.
15. So we have 15 yes, so the motion carries.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to advance candidates Luger, Kaplan, and Albright.
Thank you. Both. Second. Yeah, I think we should. So a motion has been made to advance candidates Luger, Kaplan, and Albright. It's been seconded by Jason Rarick. And Sally, do you want to call?
Chair Clausen,
Yes.
Member Ali,
No.
Member Andalchek,
Yes.
Member Bernardi,
Yes.
Member Devine,
Yes.
Member Farrell,
Yes.
Member Hilbrich,
No.
Member Hill,
Yes.
Member Jessen,
Yes.
Member Matchett,
No.
Member Mergendahl,
No.
Senator Mohammed,
Yes.
Member Ojala,
Yes.
Member Otto,
Yes.
Member Moore,
Yes.
Member Pandy,
Yes.
Senator Rarick,
Yes.
Member Reynoso,
No.
Member Shostrom,
Yes.
Member Theophalt,
Yes.
Member Tyak,
Yes.
Member Winkler.
Yes.
Madam Chair, I'd like to change my vote to a no.
Okay.
So 16 in favor, 6 against.
So the motion carries. So we are advancing candidate Ellen Luger, Benjamin Kaplan, and Robert Albright. for the 5th district. Okay. Move, oh, yes, Senator Rarick.
Thank you. And I just want clarification, and I don't know that every one of them put this on their applications, but the three who have not been moved forward from the other two, are we going to be adding them to the at-large pool to be considered there?
I think so. Yes. The 3, the
Madam Chair.
2. The 2? Devin Driscoll and Jenna. Okay. Yeah. Just to let you know, Sally's reminding me, Jenna Mitchell did not check the at-large box, but to be safe, we'll add her for our consideration for at-large.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Is the motion necessary to add them?
I'm not sure. If you'd like to, we can. Sure. Okay, go for, sure. Thank you, Bill. Are you going to make that motion?
Can I entertain a motion to add Jenna Mitchell and Devin Driscoll to at-large, please?
Okay. And who?
On Taiwo.
Tai Wu, the other student?
Yeah.
Okay.
Second.
Second. Okay, maybe, I think we can do this by voice. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
It carries. Thank you. So be sure that Diane has that. I'll be right back. Okay. All right. I'd really rather be doing this online. I don't know why. So our next order of business is the 2 at-large seats. And we can recommend for both seats at the same time, right? We don't handle them individually. And I would ask if anybody has any comments that they'd like to make about any additional comments about any of the at-large candidates. Oh, Ryan Winkler, thank you.
Madam Chair, thank you. I thought that it was an interesting and compelling group of candidates. And I just wanted to say something on behalf of Jamal Adam, who was one of the earlier interviewees, and I thought he was the only one in this entire collection of applicants who had experience as a non-traditional student, coming through as an adult, working while going to school. And I think understanding the needs of a whole group of students that are often forgotten when we kind of think of the square peg of 4-year college at age 18 and coming up through. And I think he said, what stood out to me was it wasn't until he went to the University of Minnesota as a PhD student that he had trouble being able to work a job while in school. And if you're familiar with higher education issues and kind of what we're facing with enrollment, I think somebody with that experience would be very valuable.
Okay. Senator Rarick.
Thanks, and I love this. I actually get to correct Mr. Winkler. There was a second candidate who had that later in life
Yes,
experience
yes.
as well.
I also like that.
And that was Bull Johnson. And I will say he, if we were looking for unique traits, he was by far the most blunt and honest of our folks. So just wanted to add that. I appreciated
He
that
was.
perspective.
Okay, thank you. Shivanji.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, again, these are a great pool of candidates. I wanted to vouch for Ann Sheldon and Dan Walter. I think they both bring on a very unique perspective. Dan, having been on this committee, kind of understanding the role of a regent, seeing, I guess, throughout the years, how the board has evolved, pros and cons of people on the board, of course, but also his other governing experiences, definitely make him a good candidate, in my opinion. And Ann Sheldon's experience at Medtronic with the different ties with Medtronic on campus and the opportunities that have been brought from Medtronic. Having that background, I think, is really beneficial. And so I would vouch for both of them.
Thank you. And Cal has a comment?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to, I mean, since we're all going around the table saying who our favorites are, I'd like to take the moment to vouch for Josh Leese. I think, I came in, I saw his application. I wasn't, totally blown away, but I remember, coming in, watching him interview and just being incredibly impressed with sort of the institutional knowledge and kind of depth of understanding of the university of, complicated, somewhat wonky concepts like HEAPR, being able to bring some of that to the table. I do want to note, I think, as my understanding at the moment on the board right now, we only have one person who comes from a background in higher ed administration, that being Mary Davenport, and she is leaving the board. So I do think having somebody who is kind of in that higher ed administrative world, maybe at St. Cloud State, but still kind of having that experience, I think that would be a very valuable addition to the board. And I hope that we all can consider Mr. Leese's application in a favorable light. Thank you.
Thank you. Mark, did you have a comment?
I did, thank you. I'm going to take my turn as well. I might be a little bit biased, but I did have the opportunity to work with on a board two outstanding candidates, Ann Sheldon and Scott Wallace, who demonstrated their commitment to the University of Minnesota and did it in a pure volunteer capacity, which is what we are asking of these people to be on the Board of Regents. And they were fantastic board members, and then ultimately chairs for that board, and saw a lot of what happens at the U, understand a lot of the issues that are taking place that the university faces on a regular basis. And so I was impressed with them then, and I'm impressed with them now.
Thank you. Oh, yes, Richard, please.
Madam Chair, yes, I echo the sentiments of the group, and I find it a real privilege to be here participating in this process. And out of all of the different candidates, I mean, we have a great number of candidates, and it's going to be a difficult decision, but it was interesting to hear from Jeffrey Ettinger and his experience. I was a little bit, I did not know he got the voted no confidence on his last day as his interim presidency, but he pretty much explained that. But as we went down the list, and I recall that we spoke with the chairman, Mayron, and she talked about what was needed. And I was pleasantly surprised with all the talent to show up that John Gibbs came into the room with the not only the marching band experience, which I think is a great thing, to participate in extracurricular activities at the university, which is extremely important, but with the legal background, which Chair Mayron said we needed, in the financial background that he has experience with working with multi-billion-dollar transactions, and the fact that he answered a lot of the questions. I had not met him before seeing him in person. I was pleased, like with a lot of the candidates, but with the diversity that we've seen, we have plenty of great candidates, but I think he would be a real asset for the university on the Board of Regents. Thank you.
Thank you. Lucas, please.
Madam Chair, our Board of Regents chair asked for an agriculture and sustainability candidate, and I think there's only one. I think that's Scott Nagel, and I think he showed that well. And I want to echo Senator Rarick's comments on Mr. Johnson. I wouldn't call him I guess going back to Mr. Nagel, there's only one person outside of students who went through the St. Paul campus, and the farm investment that he's talking about is now one of the top legislative initiatives for the university. And also what's under the surface is it's going to be paid for by fees, but kind of rebuilding the whole St. Paul campus. It's really been, we truly kind of have 6 campuses and that one was forgotten. With no offense to Morris or Crookston, there's more than double people on the St. Paul campus every day than Morris and Crookston combined. So I think Mr. Nagel's the only one who has that. And then again, echoing Senator Rarick's comments on Mr. Johnson, when you look at the addresses of everybody who joined us, there's only one who can represent. I think we heard every single candidate say, I know there's a poor perception in greater Minnesota. So I would ask you to give the legislature some help in shoring that up. And I think they should at least consider both of those individuals.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, no? So I will just take a moment to say, because I encouraged Mr. Beecher to throw his name in the hat and meet us, that I've known Bob Beecher for a long time, and I know him to be a tremendous leader. And one of the things we've talked about is healthcare and what happens with our hospital, what happens with our medical group. And it might be, I just think he deserves our consideration, and I'd like to give him his chance to talk to the legislators. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, sensing, Bob Beecher. Okay, not hearing any, I'm going to ask Diane to go ahead and send us our ballots. Thank you. Okay. If you haven't received the ballot, please let us know. Mr. Winkler carries a lot of influence. I know. I'm just waiting. Okay. Snap, snap. Reminder. Here we go. We have results from our first ballot for the 2 at-large seats. So there you go. From the top down, Jamal Adam, 14. Tai Wu, none. Robert Beecher, 7. Drew Christensen, 3. Devin Driscoll, 5. Jeff Ettinger, 11. John Gibbs, 18. Katie Harms, 1. Travis Bull Johnson, I just like saying his name, 7. John Lease, 7. What? Josh. Oh, it says John. Got Lease. Mr. Lease, 7. Jenna Muchler, 4. Scott Nagel, 8. Ann Sheldon, 11. Scott Wallace, 4. Dan Wolter, 8. So. All right. So remind me, so our top.
Madam Chair,
Thank you.
am I able to make a motion now to move the top 4 forward for voting on the top 4 to move forward for our full selection of candidates?
That's a good question.
Seats.
What's
both?
that?
No, just 4.
Yeah,
just
for both
4
seats.
Right, well, they
Yeah.
could land in either seat, but so the top 4 candidates, so we could still recommend 4 more.
Yeah, I'm proposing that
We close it at 4, that we
right,
just,
the top 4.
oh, okay,
Or we can take, I don't know,
okay,
if
there
we
you go.
could take a friendly amendment,
Well,
for sure I want to take the top 4.
right. So if I understand correctly,
Mhm.
Member Bernardi, she's made a motion that we advance to consideration the top 4 vote receivers for these open seats. Now, Ryan, you have a question?
Madam Chair, Member Bernardi, I was just going to offer a friendly amendment to suggest the top 6.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I would ask that we revote on at least the top 9. We aren't giving our Regent Chair what she's been asking for. And so that'd be everybody with 7 or more votes. At least we'd have all the categories that the chair asked for.
Okay, a motion has been made, and I think there's a friendly amendment from Ryan that we would advance the top 6. And we will have to vote on that motion, but I think you're not in favor of it.
First motion was 4.
For 4, and Ryan asked to amend it. I think, Ryan, you asked to amend it to 6. Is that right?
And Madam Chair, I just was gonna ask member, I'm just used to calling him something, something else, Member Winkler, are you saying closing it at 6 then?
Wouldn't it have to be 7?
Yeah, Madam Chair, Connie, yeah, I was saying the top 6, so I'll just name them off. So it would
Thank
be Jamal Adam, it would be Jeff Ettinger, it would be John Gibbs, it would be Scott Nagel, Ann Sheldon, and Dan Wolter.
I'll take that as a friendly amendment.
Just a quick clarifying question. Did Arimu get 9, which puts him above Nagel and Walter? So it'd have to be 7.
Who got 9?
advancing.
Wu?
Or,
Zero.
yeah, did I get that, did I write it
Are you
wrong?
asking about Tai Wu? He got 0.
Oh, why did I hear 9? Sorry.
Nope. Okay, I'll go. So Jamal Adam got 14, Tai Wu got 0, Robert Beecher got 7, Drew Christensen 3, Devin Driscoll 5, Jeff Ettinger 11, John Gibbs 18, Katie Harms 1, Travis Johnson 7, John Lees, Josh Lees 7, Jenna Muchler 4, Scott Nagel 8, Ann Sheldon 11, Scott Wallace 4, Dan Wolter 8. So the top 6 are, remind us again, if that works. Would be.
And then that's the last. Is that the last vote?
Jeff.
What do you think?
John Gibbs. Ann Sheldon. Dan Wolter 8.
Well, you can make that. Scott
Nagel.
Can you do an amendment?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So is anybody higher than that? No. Let me just double check the question.
Madam Chair, point of order. I did not hear a second to that motion.
We have to suspend the rules first anyways.
That may be true. So. Representative Connie Bernardi, Member Bernardi made a motion. It was amended by Ryan Winkler. And thank you, Richard. It has not been seconded. So would anybody want to second that amended motion?
I'll second it.
Okay, Shvanzi seconds it. So then we have to suspend the rules to do this. So is somebody making the motion to suspend the rules? No? What? Oh, that was your motion, suspend the
No,
rule.
the motion and second have been made to suspend, correct?
What do
There's
you,
a Bernardi motion seconded by candidate Pandy, I believe.
okay? Correctly, folks, is there something I'm misunderstanding? Thank you, Jason.
Well, I think we're doing it correctly. I think there's just a lot of banter about, if members, this is what they want to do or not. There's a lot of discussion, kind of
Sure.
sidebar discussion as far as what they think the best route is. And I think
So we should
we-
just be able to discuss.
I think we should have some more discussion as a panel as to what we want to do moving forward. Like if an option would be moving the top 4 forward, but continuing to have another vote to see where things would fall with other members after that.
Yep.
Or if we wanted to move the top 6 and then say, look at the 3 that got 7 votes and vote for 1 of those 7 to continue on. I think those are potentially our top 2 options that we could be considering and maybe should be talking about before
Okay.
we vote on suspending the rules.
And I'll withdraw my amendment.
Okay. So, but to accept your motion, the rules need to be suspended. So you're saying do I understand this correctly? We need to first suspend the rules and then consider your motion? Or is it the one?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So we need to consider Connie's motion. We need a motion to suspend the rules.
I'll motion
You
to
Suspend the rules. Okay. Second? Second, okay.
So to clarify the motion for suspending the rules,
Thank you.
the top 4 vote getters are automatically selected to be recommended to the legislature. And so will be removed from another ballot, but council members would be voting again. For up to 4, because there's still 4 remaining slots. Okay. Are you ready for the roll? Yes. Suspend the rules to advance the top 4, but then you can vote again.
Okay, got it.
Okay, so.
The motion's been made to suspend the rules, so we don't discuss that motion.
Correct.
Okay.
I'd like to speak on the motion itself.
No.
No?
Because you have to suspend the rules.
Okay, I'm sorry. You're right. You're
Yeah.
right. Correct. I'm sorry.
Chair Clausen,
Yes.
Member Ali,
Yes.
Member Andalchek,
No.
Member Bernardi,
Yes.
Member Devine,
Yes.
Member Farrell,
Yes.
Member Hilbrich,
Yes.
Member Hill,
Yes.
Member Jessen,
Yes.
Member Matchett,
Yes.
Member Mergendal,
Abstain.
Senator Mohammed,
Yes.
Member Ojala, Member Otto,
No.
Member Moore,
Yes.
Member Pandy,
Yes.
Senator Rarick,
Yes.
Member Reynoso,
Yes.
Member Shostrom,
Yes.
Member Theophalt,
Yes.
Member Tyak,
Yes.
Member Winkler.
Yes.
Nineteen in favor, 2 no, 1 abstention.
So now we can consider the motion. Okay, so we've suspended the rules, so we can now consider the motion of advancing the top 4 vote getters in our first ballot for the at-large seats. Is there any, and that motion was made and seconded, right? So is there any discussion on that motion?
So, Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion and amend the motion on the table now. And let me preface by saying I'm okay with the 4 going forward, but I'm wondering if members would consider moving just the 3 that received 7 votes and vote on them alone instead of looping everybody back into it. And that leaves us with 4,
The motion.
or bring it forward the
You're-
other
You're
7.
talking about what we do after this motion? So we've got this motion now?
Right.
What do you do?
So the motion before the body is to advance the top 4 vote getters to the legislature and then conduct another ballot and revote. I think what Member Reynoso is offering is that an amendment that you would just vote for the next 3 in line or the next few in line from there, right? Correct?
Would be his next motion.
Correct.
Yes.
Madam Chair, I would suggest that we can move forward with the voting on the motion in front of us. And then as we go to the next ballot, Member Reynoso's, that would be the time to entertain that
right.
position.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
Question on that. I must have misunderstood, but my understanding was that Member Bernardi made the motion to not only suspend the rules, but to pass the 4 names, the top 4 forward. So I am in error on that, I suspect.
I think suspending the rules is one motion, and once that's done, then this motion is considered. So you have to suspend the rules to consider a motion that's not within the rules.
That's where I'm confused. I just
But-
want a point of clarification because I thought I heard that she had combined those 2 issues into one motion and no.
I don't think you can. I think suspending the rules is its own motion, and then voting on these 4 is its second motion.
Okay. Thank you. And then Edward's motion would be out of order until we vote on this.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Right. Okay. I know, this gets a little to understand it. So to be clear, the motion is to advance the top 4. Remember, we can advance up to 8 for these 2 open seats. So after we advance these top 4, we will have another ballot to advance as many as 4 more or not, as we choose to do. And you heard Councilmember Reynoso talk about what he thinks that motion should look like. Whether or not we should just take all the remaining candidates and have a second ballot, or should we take an abbreviated group of candidates and have a second ballot, or what that second ballot would look like. Right now, we suspended the rules so we could do this different kind of motion, which is advancing the top 4.
Madam Chair, I don't believe the motion has been made or seconded.
Say what? Okay, reiterate it. Thank you.
We take the top 4 and we,
Move them to the legislature.
and move them to the legislature.
And we'll take another ballot. And then we'll take a second ballot if we want to advance more.
Yes,
That will be under
right,
consideration.
yes.
Okay,
I'll second the motion.
seconded. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, I want you to roll call it, just to be clear. Sorry, it doesn't take that long, and I appreciate it.
Chair Clausen,
Yes.
Member Ali,
Yes.
Member Andalshek, Member Bernardi,
Yes.
Member Devine,
Yes.
Member Farrell,
Yes.
Member Hillbridge,
Yes.
Member Hill,
Yes.
Member Jessen,
Yes.
Member Matchett,
Yes.
Member Mergendal.
Yes.
Senator Mohammed,
Yes.
Member Ojala, Member Otto,
Yes.
Member Moore,
Yes.
Member Pandy,
Yes.
Member Rarick,
Yes.
Senator Rarick, apologies. Member Reynoso,
Yes.
Member Sostrom,
Yes.
Member Theophalt,
Yes.
Member Tyak,
Yes.
Member Winkler,
Yes.
22.
Okay. So the motion carries. So to summarize, we are advancing Jamal Adam, Jeff Ettinger, John Gibbs, and Ann Sheldon as candidates for the 2 at-large seats. Now, again, as a reminder, it's within our discretion to advance as many as 8. We have done what we are required to do by advancing 4, because there are 2 seats and there are 4 candidates, and we are required to advance at least 2 candidates. But hearing the discussion of our council, there's conversation that we will do a second ballot. That was the motion, that we do a second ballot and consider if there are other candidates, remaining candidates that we'd like to also forward. Now, there are a couple of rules about people dropping off, right? So if you look at your list that you voted for to begin with, Tai Wu received no votes that time, so he will drop off. Katie Harms received only 1 vote, so she will drop off. Anyone else?
Point
And
of order,
we're-
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
We do not have a second. Is it possible to get a second before we have discussion?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. There's not a motion. My apologies.
Not a motion, not a second.
There wasn't a motion on the table. Barb is just describing the
Describing.
process of how the second ballot
you.
would look.
Madam Chair, I don't think we need a motion to proceed. I think it automatically goes to a second ballot. Is that correct?
Okay. Other than, well, yes, but I guess because Councilmember Bernardi clarified that she wasn't looking to have that be the full and final slate, which by our requirements, it could have been. So, but she did talk about second ballot.
So,
All right.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
Ms. Olson, are we still operating under suspension of the rules in that case?
No, because
No, I think
No.
you go back to the selection procedures as is and go to a subsequent ballot in which any candidate with 0 votes will be eliminated and the 2 lowest vote getters would be eliminated, which I believe are the 4 or the 1 and the 3.
Katie Harms.
Yeah, so we wait inside the ballot, we'll be waiting for motions, yeah. Wondering if we're- If I know they're working on the ballot.
Okay.
Oh, wait.
All right.
Sally, could you clarify what you just said a little bit ago about who's eliminated?
In accordance with the selection procedures when going to, after the first ballot, whether or not there is, okay. All candidates receiving no votes are eliminated, and all candidates having the two smallest numbers of votes are also eliminated. So it was a zero, there was a zero, a 1, and a 3.
And a 3.
Can you, Madam Chair? Sally, could you give us a list of the names that would be moving towards the second ballot?
That they're working on your ballot right now, and you should have it post haste, so. Hang on.
I'll do my best, Member Reynoso. On the ballot would be
Bob Beecher,
Travis Johnson, Josh Leese, Scott Nagel, Scott Wallace, Dan Walter, Devin Driscoll, and Jenna Mitchler.
I was, we went over 4.
And you can vote for up to 4.
But you do not have. When the motion.
If there's a
is-
motion.
Yeah, I can, well, if you want, sure, yeah, there'll be a motion. So we'll have the vote, well.
We normally do that before the vote.
You can discuss right now.
Okay.
But Lucas just went to the bathroom.
Okay. Okay, so just give us some,
Give a minute.
Yeah.
I'll ask her to hold it.
yeah, hold it for a minute. Okay. A request has been made that before we receive our next ballot, we have the opportunity, because now it's a different slate of candidates, if anybody would like to rediscuss any of the candidates that will be on this next ballot. So if there's anything you would like to say about the remaining candidates, I think you know who they are, or I could read them off to you again, that are working on being on our ballot. So if anyone would like to, we'll give you the opportunity right now to do that. Senator Reynoso, I think you do. Or
I just got
Senator.
a raise. I'm
I
a
just-
senator
I
now.
just called you senator. Oh my gosh. Council member.
I've been called worse.
I'm sorry. Council, sorry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And if I could just take a little of your all time, all your time, should I say? I'd really like to speak out in support of Josh Leese. You know, Josh Leese came to the table, and I believe that he answered every single question in his due diligence and did a fantastic job at some of the difficult questions, starting with HEAPR. I don't believe there's any other candidate that really mentioned and went into detail on how much the HEAPR is needed. And with no bonding bill, you know, it certainly does hurt the institution of both Minnesota State and University of Minnesota. There's no question that the infrastructure is in dire need. And especially if you go into greater Minnesota, it's even worse than it is in the Twin City campuses. He's the only one that really had the conversation about, and part of it is that he is experienced in the legislative process. As he had mentioned to everybody, he was able to champion a piece of legislation that isn't necessarily an easy process to get through. To come to the Capitol, and if you're familiar with the pension board, it is a bipartisan board. It meets all throughout the session, and it is not easy when you are talking about pensions, because in many cases, you're not talking about a few bucks. You're talking about millions of dollars of impact. And there were some employees that he was fighting for that worked in our Minnesota state system that somehow or another through the cracks of HR at at Minnesota State, their pension wasn't there when they went to retire. And we literally had to have a process in which these employees would have to come to the legislature and there would literally be a bill drafted with their name in order for them to fund that retirement. You had at times when you had people, I can remember a lady coming here and one of his members in tears because she went to retire and it wasn't there. So again, I mean, when you're talking about millions of dollars of an impact to correct the system that really didn't explain the process to many of these workers, he was able not only to get it passed, but in a bipartisan effort, unanimous vote in the committee. So it's not easy to get unanimous votes in these chambers, and that I can tell you out of experience. It's very, very difficult. I believe from the perspective of not only the legislative process, but understanding the mechanics of the university system. He was very articulate. He was very factual, and I believe on point, especially as Cal had just mentioned earlier, we are not going to have any of that on this board moving forward if he's not on it. I ask, I plead, I urge you to support him moving forward, give him an opportunity to go forward and have these conversations with legislators. And so that at the end of the day, Josh would serve as an asset to the university in Minnesota. And personally, I would think he would be a huge asset. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Madam Chair, I have a question on that. So we're saying that if someone is an employee of the University of Minnesota, they have a conflict of interest. But in Josh's case, he's an employee of a Minsky college, so he does not have a conflict of interest. Is that a correct interpretation?
I guess I'm not sure, but I think that that's true. Cal?
Yeah, Madam Chair, if I may, I believe to my understanding, the Board of Regents Code of Conduct prohibits employees of the institution from serving as members of the board, with the one exception being student employees in the student seat. So the Board of Regents Code of Conduct does not explicitly prohibit people who are employed by other educational institutions in the state. And again, I think going back to previous experience, our current, outgoing member of the board, Mary Davenport, was not a current employee of Minnesota State, but was a retired administrator after some 30 or so years before joining the board of the U of M. So.
And because I asked this question of everyone, I will just remind that, thank you, Councilmember Reynoso. I agree that he did a fine job in representing himself. He is the full-time employee at St. Cloud that told us he would use every minute of his vacation time to fulfill the responsibilities of being a regent. So to me, that's admirable, but a little concerning that it could actually work. Oh, does anyone else have any other comments about any of this next group of candidates? No? No? All right, Diane, there you go. Thank you. So again, remember, you can vote for up to 4. Just remember that. Oh, yeah. And if for some reason you're delayed in getting your ballot, let us know. But you do not have to vote for 4. So whatever, up to 4, no more than 4. Thank you.
Did everyone receive the ballot? Good.
While she's finishing that tally, something that we do need to do still is the minutes, meeting minutes. I just had them here from our December 13th meeting were distributed to you, and we need to approve those minutes. So if you take a look at them, and if somebody would make a motion to approve them, that would be terrific.
So moved.
So moved. Second? Second. Second. Terrific. Thank you. I think I can do a roll call vote or a voice vote of this. Everyone in favor of approving the minutes from our December 13th meeting, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Terrific. Thank you. Yeah. Yes, Member Hill, you have a question?
Yeah, point of order, Madam Chair, while we're waiting.
Yes, sir.
Just out of curiosity and in the research of this week and walking around here, just reading through, reminding myself of the guidelines, and I believe my computer won't turn on. There's a part in there about our work is considered complete upon submission to the joint body. And I'm just curious if you can help us understand the success of our work here this week and where it goes from here or to what it goes to. Thank you.
Sure, go for it.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Member Hill. So staff will draft a report of the process that took place this week, and it'll include the ultimate candidates you recommended to the legislature. It'll be sent to the chairs and ranking members of the higher education committees in both the House and the Senate by Wednesday of next week.
Yeah, thank you for that, Sally, and thank you to you and your staff, obviously, for this week. Then I just would hope the good senator here who's sat with us to carry the will of this body forward to remind his colleagues that we're able to get our work done and deliver it. And to whom it may concern our report goes to, I hope they listen to it and commit to the you like all of us are doing here this week. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
just for the record, and I have to come to Senator Rarick's defense. It's not his chamber that has the problem right now.
That said, my chamber at 3333 might not have a president or any committees structure for a little while as well.
Man.
So we're not going to work on 14.
So how many would we need to automatically advance anybody? 15.
Right,
Okay.
on the second ballot.
On the second ballot?
Keep moving my.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we have the results. So, results. And a reminder, on a second ballot, we would need 15 votes to advance someone by what? Yep, by virtue, but by our voting rules. So, for the people, we have 7 votes for Robert Beecher, 6 for Devin Driscoll, 5 for Travis Johnson, 10 for Josh Lees, 7 for Jenna Mitchler, 10 for Scott Nagel, 1 for Scott Wallace, and 9 for Dan Wolter. So by our rules, none of those candidates received 15 votes, so they do not automatically advance.
Madam Chair, could you please repeat the vote totals?
I absolutely be happy to. Sorry, I'll go. Here we go. Yeah. 7 for Robert Beecher. 6, Devin Driscoll. 5, Travis Johnson. 10, Josh Lees. 7, Jenna Mitchler. 10, Scott Nagel. 1, Scott Wallace. And 9, Dan Wolter.
And Madam Chair, before there are any other motions, I wonder if you and Sally could tell us then who would drop off if we just went by this vote total?
If we go by the vote total, Scott Wallace only has, it's the bottom three, right? Right. Bottom two. So the bottom two would be Scott Wallace and Travis Johnson. And then we, right? What? 5, yeah, one, Scott received 1 and the next lowest total was 5. So we can drop them off and do another vote. Or, yes?
I would, Madam Chair, I'd like to introduce a motion to suspend the rules and only take the top 2, those being Josh Lees and Scott Nagel. If I could get a
Second the
second.
motion.
There's been a motion made to suspend the rules and take the top 2 vote getters on this ballot, which would be Josh Lees and Scott Nagel. So what? Right, it's not closing balloting. It's just if we would take those top 2, but a motion to suspend the rules needs to be voted on and needs to carry before we could do that. So you want to count for the motion? He's moving to suspend the rules. Is the, oh, sorry, and there was a second, did I, right? Yes, oh, that's right, Edward Reynoso seconded it.
Chair Clausen,
Yes.
Member Ali,
Yes.
Member Andalshek, Member Bernardi,
Yes.
Member Devine,
Yes.
Member Farrell,
Yes.
Member Hilbrich,
Yes.
Member Hill,
Yes.
Member Jessen,
Yes.
Member Matchett,
Yes.
Member Mergendahl.
Yes.
Senator Mohammed,
Yes.
Member Ojala, Member Otto,
Yes.
Member Moore,
Yes.
Member Pandy,
Yes.
Senator Rarick,
No.
Member Reynoso,
Yes.
Member Shostrom,
Yes.
Member Theophalt,
Yes.
Member Tyak,
Yes.
Member Winkler.
Yes.
21 yes, 1 no.
So the motion to suspend the rules carries, and now we need to make the motion. Okay, so now we
Yep.
need a motion to advance those top 2 candidates, if that's what the will is.
Madam Chair, I would like to make that motion.
And
Thank you.
Cal makes that motion.
Can I?
Madam Chair, I would like to offer an amendment, a friendly amendment to close the voting after those 2.
I will accept that amendment as friendly.
Madam Chair, I'd like to offer another amendment to take the top 3.
Oh. Okay,
Yes, and then close.
and then close. All right. It's Cal's amendment, so you're asking if he will accept the amendment to not only take the top 2, but take the top 3. And to be clear, the top 2 were Josh Lees and Scott Nagel, and then the third person would be Dan Wolter with 9 votes. So,
Madam Chair, I do not accept that as a friendly amendment. I would certainly be open to discuss further discussion and a vote on it, but at the moment, I am not ready to accept that as
doesn't
friendly.
accept, okay, so we still have the motion. Senator Rarick.
Thank you. Then, if that's not going to be accepted, then I would also, hope that we reject the motion to close, voting after accepting these 2 and go to one more round of voting to be able to consider and see if, other members can get enough to make it through.
Okay, so the motion is to take the top 2 and close voting. So you're asking to amend that motion to just take the top 2. Do you accept that amendment, Cal?
Again, I would be open to further discussion, and if the motion as currently stated fails, then I would accept that, but, sorry, Senator, I don't accept that as friendly at the moment.
Madam Chair, just to clarify, so Cal made the motion to move the 2 forward. Member Reynoso made the friendly amendment to close voting after he moved these 2 forward. Cal accepted that as a friendly amendment. Senator Rarick is saying now to not close the balloting. So,
No.
And Cal is not accepting that.
okay.
So the motion that we would vote on is to accept the top two and close voting.
Okay.
Right. Right, I know that. I'm sorry. Bill has something. Bill,
Madam Chair, is there any discussion on the motion?
is there discuss? Yeah, sure, okay. Sure, let's discuss the current motion that is to forward the top two vote getters in this last ballot and then close voting after that. And the reason we close voting is that we've already selected 4, that would make 6, and we don't need to send 8, we can choose to send 6. So
Madam Chair, point of order, do we have a second on the motion before we discuss?
I think, yes, who, I'm sorry, but yes, I think somebody did, but if there's not a second, was
I think we need.
Wendy seconds the
I
motion.
think we
Oh,
need
did-
a second.
oh.
To
Second.
Thank you.
There you go. Second to the motion. Sorry, I thought I heard somebody second it. So now we can discuss the motion. Right? So there's a motion, there was a friendly amendment that wasn't accepted, and the motion again on this ballot is to advance the top 2 vote getters, who are Josh Leese and Scott Nagel. They both got 10 votes. And close the balloting after that. So any discussion on that, Senator Rarick?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would ask members to vote no, and then go to a second round of voting and just see if our last member that has received a close number of votes to the others, if he would achieve the number of votes necessary to move to the next level instead of just closing it off.
Thank you. Any other comments on the motion on the floor?
Madam Chair, just a point of clarification. Amendments don't need to be considered friendly or not to be voted upon, correct? So we could have voted on Councilmember Andelchek's amendment to the amendment, I believe.
I think the person making the motion has to accept the,
We can
No,
vote,
they don't.
we can vote
Oh.
on an amendment to an amendment.
oh, I can, okay. All right, thank you for the point of order.
And again, I am open to such discussion and such votes.
So are you saying, Bill, we need to back up?
So I'm saying the motion before us now is to vote on the amendment to the amendment,
Okay.
correct?
Madam Chair would be my first amendment. Right. Doesn't matter, it's a friendly. That's what we're doing.
I'm sorry, Richard, remind me of your amendment.
Where's Robert?
What? All right.
Richard, I believe your amendment was to advance 3 and close voting.
That is
that correct?
correct.
Okay. So,
Madam Chair, I think that then is an amendment that you're offering, which would require a second.
Second.
okay. Okay, now, so do we discuss now the order of business on the floor? Okay, so we discussed the amendments proposed by Richard to advance 3, right? And close the voting? Is that what you said?
Correct.
Okay.
Discussion. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to the motion. I think it would be appropriate with the 1 vote difference, and our responsibility as the council here is to send, our committee is to send the best people we can find. Pretty big discrepancy amongst the most. We have 2 at 10, 1 at 9. Close enough. I just would like to really make sure that the week we spent here, we give that the legislature, the House, if they ever meet again, the best shot we have to move forward. Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak to the motion? Bill, do you? is
Thank
that-
you, Madam Chair. I would just second Councilmember Andelchek's remarks.
Okay, thank you. Lucas?
Yeah, I just say as a former candidate, you come here and you hope you get the votes and I had the pleasure of going against two other people, so I got the votes. So that was really nice, unanimously. But then you have your work to do with the legislature and we're one body. Those are two other bodies and I think the more people we can send, I don't know if we're gonna get to all four. So I support this because I think the more opportunities we give for success, as has been said, the better as a candidate. So if you think about their time invested, they're willing to go to the legislature, whether there's one or two or three or eight finalists. And so I think more is better.
Anyone else like to speak to the motion? No?
Just a clarification, please.
Thank you.
If we accept Richard's amendment, does it also include that the voting is then closed?
Yes.
Yes, that is correct, Senator Clausen.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, we would then, after voting on the amendment, we have to vote on the amendment. And then we would,
Okay. Yes, do a roll call.
So this is on the Andelcheck amendment. Chair Clausen,
Yes.
Member Ali,
Yes.
Member Andelcheck, Member Bernardi,
No.
Member Devine,
No.
Member Farrell,
No.
Member Hillbridge,
No.
Member Hill,
yes.
Member Jessen,
Yes.
Member Matchett,
No.
Member Mergendahl,
Abstain.
Senator Mohammed,
Yes.
Member Ojala, Member Otto,
Yes.
Member Moore,
Yes.
Member Pandy,
Yes.
Senator Rarick,
Yes.
Member Reynoso, Member Shostrom,
Yes.
Member Theophalt,
Yes.
Member Tyak,
Yes.
Member Winkler,
No.
Member Reynoso. This is a simple majority. Fourteen in favor, 7 no, 1 abstention. Simple majority.
So it carries. So the motion carries. So,
The amendment.
okay. So now we vote on, thank you, Cal's motion as a whole as amended. The amendments were just approved. So the motion as a whole is that we advance these top 3 candidates and close voting, which would mean we are advancing 7. We're advancing 7 candidates for the at-large position. And again, those top 3 would be Josh Lees, Scott Nagel, and Dan Wolter. Okay, so that's the motion on the floor as amended. Any other conversation, comments about the motion as amended? Okay, you want to call vote? I do. Call vote.
Chair Clausen,
Yes.
Member Ali,
Yes.
Member Andelcheck,
Yes.
Member Bernardi,
Yes.
Member Devine,
Yes.
Member Farrell,
Yes.
Member Hillbridge,
Yes.
Member Hill,
Yes.
Member Jessen,
Yes.
Member Matchett,
Yes.
Member Mergendahl,
Yes.
Senator Mohammed,
Yes.
Member Ojala, Member Otto,
Yes.
Member Moore,
Yes.
Member Pandy,
Yes.
Senator Rarick,
Yes.
Member Reynoso,
Yes.
Member Shostrom, Member Theophalt,
Yes.
Member Tyak,
Yes.
Member Winkler.
Yes.
There are 22 ayes and 0 nays.
Okay. So the motion carries. We are sending those 3 candidates forward to the legislature for their consideration. And our voting is closed for the at-large seat. Bravo. Now, we do, Bill, is something else you want to say? No? Okay, you looked like it.
Not yet, anyway.
Not yet. You're just waiting for me to not understand an amendment and an amendment and an amendment. Good golly, trace those back and get it right. All right. So now we have the responsibility to let our candidates know who's advanced to the legislature and who is, with our deep appreciation, not advanced. And I have the list of who we all volunteered when we let somebody know that we advanced them for the interview process. So I would like to ask those same volunteers to now contact the candidates with this next result. So Tai Wu and Kosar Mohammed was Rama. You will, okay, great, terrific. Steve Thyak was Madeline Rowe.
And she's advancing.
Say what?
She is advancing.
Flora Yang, Mark Jessen. Dylan Young, Ed Reynoso. Robert Albright, Kenny Devine. Devin Driscoll, Ryan Winkler. I want you to nod at me, Ryan, that you heard me say that. Well, acknowledge that it just, you didn't just, I want to be sure that you, thank you. Benjamin Kaplan, Quentin Moore. Ellen Luger, Connie Bernardi. Jenna Mitchler, Greg Clausen. And I'll talk to Greg if he's up for the conversation.
I got it. Thanks.
Thank you. Jamal Adam, Mark Jessen. Bob Beecher, Barb Farrell. Drew Christensen, Jason Rarick. Jeff Ettinger, Mark Jessen. John Gibbs, Jason Rarick. Katie Harms, Megan Theofold. Travis Johnson, Lucas Solstrom. Josh Leese, Ed Reynoso. Scott Nagel, Lucas Solstrom. Ann Sheldon, Mark Jessen. Scott Wallace, Mark Jessen. And Dan Wolter, Jason Rarick. Okay. Now, if for any reason somebody doesn't get a hold of them or needs help reaching out to them or whatever, just please let us know, because we do want them to be notified as soon as possible. So as a reminder, the work of our group is done. Our statutory deadline to let the legislature know is Wednesday, January 15th. So we will summarize our work from today and let them know that. As you perhaps continue in the process, you know that the Alumni Association will host a forum inviting recommended candidates to speak. And if they end up then there's a higher, there are other times that as a guest in the back row, you can watch and see what happens. And I encourage you all to do so. It's a very interesting procedure, and our part of this relay is done, but the work continues, and it's very gratifying to see. I know there are some questions. Kenny, did you have a question?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So once we let them know, what is their next point of contact in the process then?
That's a good question. You know?
Initially, Senator Rarick is the candidate orientation chair will be reaching out, but they should also be getting contacted eventually by the committee administrators from the House and Senate higher ed committees for that next piece.
Please.
Yeah, and so the members are aware, I'll be working with each of the folks who moved on to help them coordinate, hopefully, especially with members of the Higher Education Committee, asking them to pick 2 or 3 days that they will set aside so that our candidates don't have to make 10 trips in to meet with folks. Hopefully over a 2 or 3 day period, they can meet with the Higher Education Committee folks and potentially any others that would have time. So I will be helping them through that process.
Good question. Ed, did you have a question?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Senator Rarick, is there a timeline or expectation of a date that would happen? Because, as we know, it's kind of vague what's going to go on at the Capitol right now, at least in the first few weeks. And if there's a timeline, I think that would be great.
Yeah, Sally, if you correct me if I'm wrong, but we must, the Joint Higher Education Committee must have met by the end of February. So I suspect the first 2 weeks are a little bit unknown as to what's going to happen. So my goal will kind of be that last week of January to the first 2 weeks of February to try to set aside those days for the members to be able to come in to meet with higher education members and other members. That's kind of what I would be hoping for.
Thank you.
Bill, you have a question?
Not a question, just a comment, Madam
Oh.
Chair. Just on behalf of the rest of us, just like to thank you and our Vice Chair, Mr. Reynoso, for your
Oh.
work this week, as well
Thank-
as the Executive Committee, which I believe is also Senators Clausen, Rarick, and Councilmember Andlushak. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Very nice of you to say. Anything else? Okay, nope. In a small housekeeping detail, if you don't remember this, we are reimbursed per diem and mileage to and from and parking. So you should have an expense sheet in your folder and you can include on for the per diem reimbursement, the first day that we met when we considered decided we only met for one day and we decided who to advance. So that day should be, if you didn't already submit an expense sheet for that, you can include that day as well. So, and Sally wants to say.
Just a reminder, if you do want per diem, please check the box
Oh.
that says yes or no. Sometimes that gets missed.
Okay. So, and leave those with us. I need to sign off on it as well, and then Sally takes care of it. So, take a minute and do that. That would be great. Oh, yes. And Cal, did you want to say, oh, you've got your sheet. Wonderful. All right. And Rama had a request that, I've done this several times, and this is actually my, term limit. Bravo. But she asked that we could have a group photo. And I think that sounds just lovely. So thank you for the request. And I don't know how after we adjourn. So okay, sorry. So any other business that we need to say here today? Okay. Then we're adjourned and group photo time.
Yes.